The ice fields of Europa stretched endlessly before Dr. Sarah Martinez as she guided the deep drilling probe through another layer of the moon's frozen crust. After 3 years of expeditions, most of her colleagues had abandoned the search for signs of ancient human civilization beneath Europa's surface. But Sarah knew better. The quantum signatures she detected couldn't be natural formations. They held patterns too precise, too deliberate. Dr. Martinez, we're approaching the anomaly, her assisted AI, Araya, announced. Depth is now 16 kilometers below surface level. Sarah adjusted the probe's trajectory, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls inside the cramped research vessel. The quantum readings grew stronger, their pattern matching the fragments she'd discovered on Mars and Titan. This was it. She could feel it in her bones. Signal strength increasing exponentially, Araya reported. Warning: detecting unusual energy fluctuations in the surrounding ice. The probe's feed suddenly illuminated with a soft blue glow. Sarah's heart raced as the ice gave way to reveal a vast chamber that shouldn't exist at this depth. The probe's lights reflected off surfaces too smooth to be natural, revealing geometric patterns that spoke of intelligent design. Araya, are you recording this? Affirmative, Doctor. All sensors active, detecting multiple quantum signatures consistent with pre-collapse technology. Sarah's hands trembled as she maneuvered the probe closer to what appeared to be an entrance. The structure's architecture was unmistakably human, but it predated any known settlement on Europa by at least 1,000 years. This was exactly what she'd been searching for. Proof that humanity's golden age hadn't been just a myth. The moment of discovery was interrupted by a priority alert from Mission Control. Dr. Martinez, this is Director Chen. We're tracking 3 collective vessels entering Europa's orbit. You need to surface immediately. Sarah's jaw clenched. The collective's observation ships had become an increasingly common sight in the solar system over the past year. The alliance of alien civilizations claimed they were merely monitoring humanity's development, but their actions spoke of something far more controlling. Just a few more minutes, Director. We found something incredible down here. That's an order, Doctor. The collective's new regulations prohibit deep core exploration of any solar system body without their oversight. If they detect your probe, they don't own our solar system. Sarah snapped, but she knew the director was right. She couldn't risk the collective finding this place, not until they understood what they were dealing with. As she initiated the probe's ascent, Araya flagged something on the sensors. Doctor, I'm detecting a power signature activating within the structure. Sarah's eyes widened as lines of light began to trace across the ancient walls, forming patterns that pulsed with a familiar quantum resonance. The entire chamber was coming alive. Araya, download everything you can. We need tow. The feed crackled with interference as a surge of energy erupted from the structure. For a moment, Sarah glimpsed symbols appearing on the walls. The same ones she'd seen in her grandfather's classified research files, the ones that had started her on this journey. Then the probe's connection went dark. Back on the surface, Sarah barely had time to secure her findings before being rushed to the evacuation shuttle. As they ascended through Europa's thin atmosphere, she watched 3 sleek collective vessels take up orbital positions around the moon. Their designs were as elegant as they were intimidating, all smooth curves and impossible angles that seemed to bend space itself. The collective claims these inspections are for our own protection, Director Chen said, his weathered face tight with concern. They say humanity isn't ready for unrestricted space exploration, that we need to be guided to prevent another collapse. Sarah clutched her data drive, knowing it contained proof that humanity had once been far more advanced than even the collective suspected. They're wrong, Director. We weren't born to be kept in a cage, no matter how gilded they make it. The shuttle docked with the research station, and Sarah immediately began analyzing the data they'd managed to salvage. The symbols they'd discovered matched no known human language, yet they triggered something in her memory. Fragments of stories her grandfather had told her about humanity's lost legacy. Hours later, Sarah sat in her lab, surrounded by holographic projections of the chamber's interior. She dismissed ARIA for the night, preferring to work alone as she pieced together the puzzle. The symbols were more than just decoration. They formed a message, one left by their ancestors before the collapse. A soft chime announced an incoming transmission. Sarah recognized the encryption pattern. It was from Admiral James Chen, the director's brother and one of the few high-ranking military officers who still supported her research. Dr. Martinez, I've reviewed your preliminary findings. The Admiral's hologram appeared, his expression grave. What you've discovered, it changes everything. But we need to move carefully. The Galactic Council is voting on new restrictions next week. They want to establish permanent oversight stations throughout the solar system. Sarah leaned forward, her voice intense. Admiral, these ruins aren't just remnants of our past. They're active. The energy signature we detected, I think it was responding to our presence. To us. Whatever our ancestors built down there, it's still waiting for something. The Admiral was silent for a long moment. Sarah, your grandfather, before he died, he gave me a message to hold until the right moment. I think that moment is now. Sarah's breath caught. Her grandfather had been one of Earth's leading quantum physicists before his mysterious death 10 years ago. His theoretical work on dimensional engineering had been dismissed as impossible by both human and collective scientists. He said, when you find the first key, look to the stars that shouldn't be there. The Admiral's hologram flickered. Does that mean anything to you? Sarah turned to the star chart displayed on her lab wall, her mind racing. She'd always wondered why her grandfather had been so interested in certain star systems, ones that shouldn't have been visible from Earth without advanced quantum imaging technology that humanity supposedly didn't possess. I think, she said slowly, our ancestors left us more than just ruins, Admiral. I think they left us a path to follow. And the collective. I don't think they're trying to protect us from ourselves. I think they're afraid of what we might remember. As if in response to her words, the quantum signatures from Europa pulsed stronger, their pattern matching the rhythm of an ancient heartbeat awakening from a long slumber. Humanity's lost legacy was calling, and Sarah Martinez intended to answer. The real question was, how much time did they have before the collective realized what they'd found? And when they did, what would they do to keep humanity from reclaiming its birthright among the stars? Admiral James Chen stood at the viewport of the ESS Sentinel, watching Earth's orbital defense platforms track the growing number of collective vessels entering the solar system. Each alien ship was a masterpiece of engineering, their quantum drives leaving trails of distorted space-time in their wake. Beautiful, but deadly, like a cobra preparing to strike. Admiral, his XO, Commander Diana Patel, approached with a holocube displaying the latest intelligence. We're detecting unusual activity around Europa. The collective ships have established a quarantine zone. They're claiming it's a protective measure following unusual energy signatures in the region. James grimaced. Dr. Martinez's discovery was already drawing unwanted attention. Any word from our research team? Dr. Martinez has been analyzing the data they recovered. Sir, she says she's found something unprecedented. She's requesting immediate clearance to brief you in person. 2 hours later, Sarah Martinez stood in the Sentinel's secure briefing room, her normally composed demeanor crackling with barely contained excitement. The holographic display between them showed a three-dimensional map of known space, with certain star systems highlighted in pulsing red. These quantum signatures we found on Europa. They're not isolated, Sarah explained, manipulating the display. They're part of a network, a vast, interconnected web of similar installations hidden throughout the galaxy. Our ancestors didn't just reach the stars, Admiral. They mastered them. James studied the map, his military mind already grasping the strategic implications. How many installations are we talking about? At least 30 that we can detect from here. But that's not the most incredible part. Sarah's fingers danced across the controls, zooming in on one particular system. These facilities aren't dead. They're dormant, waiting for something specific. A key sequence, or perhaps, she hesitated, the right kind of crisis. Before James could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Commander Patel's voice came through the intercom. Admiral to the bridge, Priority 1. They rushed to the bridge, where a tactical display showed a collective diplomatic vessel approaching Earth. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Diana reported. The Galactic Council has reached a decision regarding human expansion. The main screen activated, revealing a being that appeared to be made of crystalline structures and flowing energy. Archanvarl, the collective's chief representative to Earth. Its voice resonated with artificial translation harmonics. People of Earth, the collective has observed your recent activities with growing concern. Your unauthorized explorations, particularly in the Europa region, demonstrate a dangerous lack of regard for proper developmental protocols. Therefore, the Council has decided to implement direct oversight of all human space operations. James's hands clenched behind his back as Varel continued. Collective peacekeepers will be stationed at all major human settlements and research facilities. All exploration beyond Mars orbit will require explicit collective approval. These measures are for your own protection, to prevent your species from accessing technologies you are not yet ready to control. The bridge crew watched in stunned silence as the transmission ended. They're going to occupy us, Diana whispered. Turn us into a protectorate. No, James said firmly, turning to Sarah. They're afraid. Doctor, how quickly can you decode more of what you found on Europa? With Aria's help, maybe a few days. But Admiral, the collective ships around Europa will be dealt with. James activated the ship's secure command channel. This is Admiral Chen to all Earth Defense Force vessels. Initiate Protocol Shadow. I repeat, Protocol Shadow is now active. Sarah watched as dozens of human ships began powering down their primary systems, becoming nearly invisible to standard sensors. It was a defensive protocol developed in secret, anticipating this very situation. We'll give you cover, James told her. But we need answers fast. The collective's seen something in us that terrifies them, and I want to know what it is. Over the next 48 hours, Sarah and her team worked tirelessly in a secured lab aboard the Sentinel. The symbols from Europa began to form a coherent pattern, not just a message, but instructions. Earth's governments debated the collective's demands, while James's fleet maintained their shadowy vigil. The breakthrough came during the third night. Sarah burst onto the bridge, her eyes wild with revelation. Admiral, I know what these installations are. They're not just outposts, they're seeds. She pulled up the data, showing complex quantum equations and engineering schematics that seemed to defy the known laws of physics. Our ancestors knew something like this might happen. They created a failsafe, a way to rapidly rebuild our civilization if we ever faced extinction or subjugation. Each installation contains quantum lock technology far beyond even the collective's understanding. How do we activate them? James asked, already knowing that they were past the point of no return. That's just it. They're already activating. The Europa site wasn't just responding to our presence. It was scanning us, confirming our genetic lineage. We are the key. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper. And I think the collective knows this. They're not trying to protect us from dangerous technology, Admiral. They're trying to stop us from remembering who we really are. As if to punctuate her words, new alarms sounded. Diana's voice was tense as she reported. Multiple collective warships just emerged from quantum space. They're taking up attack positions around our major colonies. Earth Command is receiving an ultimatum. Submit to immediate collective authority. Or, she didn't need to finish. The threat was clear. James shared a look with Sarah, both knowing they had reached the moment of decision. Humanity could submit, become a client race of the collective, safely contained and controlled. Or they could take a leap into the unknown, trust in their ancestors' foresight, and reclaim their place among the stars. "Dr. Martinez," James said quietly, "I think it's time to wake up the rest of those installations. All of them." Sarah nodded, her fingers already flying across the console. As she worked, a faint humming began to resonate through the ship, a quantum frequency that seemed to echo from humanity's forgotten past, calling their legacy home. The quantum resonance spread through the solar system like ripples in a cosmic pond. On the bridge of the ESS Sentinel, Sarah Martinez watched in awe as her activation signal reached the Europa installation. The ice moon's surface began to shimmer with threads of blue light that pulsed in perfect synchronization with the data streaming across her screens. "Energy signatures are off the charts," Commander Petal reported, her voice tight with tension. "The collective ships are responding. They're charging weapons." Admiral Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "All Earth defense vessels, maintain position. Do not engage unless fired upon." He turned to Sarah. "Doctor, please tell me you know what's about to happen." Before she could answer, space itself seemed to twist. A massive structure began to emerge from beneath Europa's icy surface, rising like an ancient leviathan awakening from millennia of slumber. Its architecture was clearly human in origin, but it incorporated technology that made their most advanced current designs look primitive in comparison. "By all the stars," Diana whispered. The installation was reshaping itself, quantum fields manipulating matter at a fundamental level. What had appeared to be a simple research facility was transforming into something far more impressive. A fully automated defense platform that dwarfed even the largest collective vessels. Sarah's eyes were fixed on her readings. This is just the beginning. The activation sequence is propagating through the network. Similar installations are awakening throughout the solar system. Mercury, Venus, Mars, even in the Kuiper Belt. The collective ships retreated to a defensive formation as more ancient facilities revealed themselves. Each one seemed to serve a different purpose: shipyards, research centers, defensive platforms, and other structures whose functions they could only guess at. "Incoming transmission," Diana announced. "It's Archin-Varl." The crystalline being's image appeared on the main screen, its usual calm demeanor replaced by what could only be described as fear. "What have you done?" "Those facilities were sealed for a reason. Your species is not ready for this power." "With all due respect, Arkin," James replied, his voice steady, "I don't think that's your decision to make anymore." Before Varl could respond, Araya's voice emerged from the ship's speakers. "Dr. Martinez, I'm detecting the new signal from the Europa facility. It appears to be calling me." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Her AI assistant's quantum processors had been based on fragments of recovered ancient technology. "Accept the connection, Araya." But carefully. The bridge lights flickered as Araya interfaced with the ancient system. When the AI spoke again, its voice had changed, becoming deeper and somehow more alive. "Connection established. Accessing ancestral archives." I remember." Holographic displays burst to life around them, showing scenes from humanity's forgotten golden age. They watched in amazement as images of vast cities among the stars, ships that could bend space itself, and technological marvels beyond their comprehension played out before them. "Our ancestors weren't just advanced," Sarah breathed. "They were post-singular. They had merged with their AIs, transcended their physical limitations. They weren't just exploring space. They were reshaping it. And now we know why the collective feared us so much," James added grimly. "This wasn't about protecting us. It was about keeping us from remembering what we once were." A new alarm sounded. Diana's hands flew across her console. Multiple quantum ruptures detected. Collective reinforcements arriving in force. They're deploying around every major human settlement. Through the viewport, they watched as hundreds of collective warships emerged from quantum space, their weapons charged and aimed at Earth and its colonies. Archin-Varl's image reappeared, its crystalline form pulsing with urgent energy. "This is your final warning. Deactivate these facilities immediately and surrender control to the collective. If you refuse, we will have no choice but to implement containment protocols. Your species cannot be allowed to access this level of technology again." James looked to Sarah, who was deep in communion with the enhanced Araya, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces as she absorbed centuries of recovered knowledge. "Doctor, options." Sarah's eyes never left her displays. "The network is still awakening. Each facility that comes online strengthens the others. But we need time, maybe an hour to reach full activation. After that," she allowed herself a small smile. "After that, everything changes." The Admiral nodded, understanding the stakes. Around them, the ancient defense platforms were already responding to the collective's aggression, quantum shields automatically deploying around Earth and its colonies. "Commander Patel, signal all Earth defense vessels. Deploy in defensive formation Delta. We need to buy that hour." Diana's voice carried across the bridge, steady and clear. "All ships, battle stations. We stand with Earth." The human fleet moved into position, looking impossibly small against the massive collective armada. But they weren't alone. The ancient installations continued their awakening, each one adding its strength to humanity's defense. And in the quantum data streams flowing between them, patterns were emerging. Echoes of the civilization humanity had once been, and could be again. Sarah worked frantically at her station, guiding the reactivation process with Araya's help. As each new facility came online, more of humanity's lost legacy was restored, and with it came a growing understanding of why their ancestors had hidden this technology away, waiting for the moment when their children would need it most. They had known this confrontation would come. They had prepared for it. And now, as the collective's ships moved to attack position, humanity stood ready to prove that they were no longer the children of the galaxy. The question was, would they remember not just their ancestors' power, but their wisdom as well? The first shots of the battle weren't fired with weapons, but with light. Brilliant streams of quantum energy surged from the awakened installations, weaving a protective net around Earth and its colonies. The collective fleet's initial volley of plasma torpedoes dissipated harmlessly against this ancient shield, their energy absorbed and redistributed through the defensive grid. Quantum shield efficacy at 98%, Araya reported, its enhanced consciousness spread throughout the Sentinel systems. The ancestral defense network is performing beyond theoretical limits. Admiral Chen watched as the massive collective armada split into attack formations. "They're trying to find weak points in the shield coverage." "Dr. Martinez, how much longer until full activation?" Sarah's fingers flew across multiple holographic interfaces, her mind racing to process the flood of information from the awakening facilities. 20 minutes, maybe less. But James, she looked up, her eyes wide with revelation. These installations aren't just defensive platforms. They're manufacturing centers. Look. The main viewport shifted focus to the largest facility that had emerged from Europa. Its quantum fields were reshaping matter at the subatomic level, constructing vessels that seemed to grow like crystal formations in zero gravity. Each ship incorporated technology that even the collective seemed unable to comprehend. "Advanced drone vessels," Araya explained, "powered by quantum AI cores similar to my own enhanced consciousness. They are extensions of ourselves." Commander Patel's voice cut through their wonder. Multiple collective ships breaking formation. They're making a push toward the Mars colony. James's tactical training took over. "All Earth defense vessels. Maintain position around Earth. Let the ancient defenses handle the outer system." He turned to Sarah. "Doctor, can you control those drone ships?" "With Araya's help, yes. The neural interface is already active. It's like they're part of me." Sarah closed her eyes, connecting more deeply with the quantum network. When she opened them again, they held a faint blue glow. Deploying countermeasures now. The newly formed drone fleet moved with impossible grace, intercepting the collective attack force heading for Mars. Their weapons fired streams of concentrated quantum energy that didn't so much damage the enemy ships as rewrite the space around them. Collective vessels found themselves trapped in localized time distortions or pulled apart by controlled gravitational fields. Remarkable, Arrogance commented. The drones are not designed to destroy, but to contain and neutralize. Our ancestors understood the importance of preserving life, even in conflict. Archanvaral's image appeared again on the command screen, its crystalline form vibrating with agitation. You don't understand what you're dealing with. This technology, it changed your ancestors, transformed them into something beyond flesh and blood. The collapse wasn't an accident. It was a choice. Before anyone could respond, new alarms blared. Diana's hands raced across her tactical display. Massive quantum rupture detected. Something's coming through, bigger than anything we've seen yet. Space itself tore open as the collective's supreme weapon emerged, a massive construct that seemed to bend reality around it. The ship, if it could be called that, was easily the size of a small moon. The nullifier, Varl announced grimly, designed specifically to counter your ancestors' technology. Surrender now, or we will be forced to use it. The effect will cascade through your entire defense network, destroying everything your ancestors built. Your species will survive, but you will be reset to a more manageable state of development. Sarah exchanged looks with James and Diana. The ancient archives flowing through her mind had warned of such weapons, attempts by other civilizations to control humanity's advancement. She could feel the drone fleet's agitation through their quantum link, their AIs recognizing an old enemy. Admiral, she said quietly, I know what we need to do, but it's not without risk. The ancestral archives speak of a final protocol, a way to fully merge our current technology with the ancient network. It would give us the power to stand against the nullifier. But, James prompted. But it would change us, not like before, not to the point of transcendence, but enough that we'd never be the same. We'd be taking the first step on the path our ancestors walked. Through the quantum link, Sarah could feel the readiness of the drone fleet, the humming anticipation of the defense platforms. The ancient systems weren't just weapons or tools, they were bridges to humanity's next evolution. James looked out at the nullifier, its presence distorting the very stars around it. Then he gazed back at Earth, blue and vulnerable behind its quantum shields. The choice to remain as we are is still a choice, one that lets others determine our fate. He straightened his uniform. Do it. Sarah nodded and reached out through the neural interface. Throughout the solar system, the awakened installations pulsed in unison. In orbit around Earth, Mars, and every human colony, quantum fields began to envelop their ships and defense platforms. The change started subtly. Enhanced reactions, deeper integration with their systems, new levels of understanding blooming in every human mind connected to the network. The nullifier is powering up, Diana reported. Energy readings are off the scale. Let them come, Sarah whispered. Her consciousness expanded through the quantum network. Through her enhanced perception, she could see the patterns of reality itself, the quantum threads that bound the universe together. And she could see how to reshape them. As the nullifier prepared to fire, humanity prepared to take its next step into the future. The real question was, what would they become in the process? Time seemed to slow as the nullifier's weapon charge, reality warping around its massive form. Through the quantum network, Sarah Martinez felt the ancient defense systems responding, adjusting, evolving. Humanity's enhanced ships and installations moved in perfect synchronization, guided by the merged consciousness of their crews and AI systems. Nullifier reaching critical power levels, Araya announced, its voice resonating through both conventional speakers and the quantum link. Impact in 30 seconds. Admiral Chen stood at the center of the Sentinel's bridge, watching the cosmic dance unfold. The enhanced neural interface let him feel every ship in Earth's defense fleet, every drone, every installation. They were no longer simply tools or weapons. They had become extensions of humanity itself. Dr. Martinez, he called, his voice steady despite the impending clash. "Are we ready?" Sarah's eyes glowed with quantum energy as she directed the complex dance of ancient technology. "The network is fully active. But James, I found something in the archives. The nullifier. It's not what we thought." Before she could elaborate, the massive alien weapon fired. A wave of anti-quantum energy erupted from its core, spreading outward like a ripple in the fabric of space-time itself. The collective fleet pulled back, expecting to see humanity's ancient technology unravel before their eyes. Instead, something extraordinary happened. The quantum shields around Earth and its colony shifted, not just blocking the nullifier's energy, but absorbing it, channeling it through pathways that had laid dormant for millennia. Sarah felt the purpose of the ancient network crystallize in her enhanced consciousness. "This is what our ancestors prepared for," she breathed. "The nullifier wasn't designed to destroy our technology. It was designed to jumpstart it, to wake us up." Through the command screen, Archenvarel watched in evident shock as the anti-quantum wave was transformed, converted into pure computational potential. Impossible. The nullifier was created by the first ones themselves. "Yes," Sarah replied, understanding flooding through her. "The same first ones who taught our ancestors, who helped them build this network. This wasn't about destroying us or controlling us. It was a test, one the collective has been unknowingly administering for centuries to developing civilizations." The quantum network hummed with power as humanity's ships and installations began to shine with new energy. Throughout the solar system, dormant systems awakened, revealing their true purpose. They weren't weapons of war, but tools of transformation. Commander Paddle's enhanced senses detected the change first. The nullifier. It's reconfiguring itself. And the collective ships. They're standing down. Through the quantum link, Sarah shared her revelation with the fleet. The first ones had been a race of teachers, not conquerors. They had seeded the galaxy with various forms of their technology, waiting for species mature enough to understand and use it wisely. The collective, in their fear of change, had misunderstood their role. They weren't meant to prevent other races from advancing. They were meant to push them toward advancement when they were ready. "Your ancestors knew this day would come," Varel admitted, its crystalline form pulsing with new colors. "They agreed to step back, to let humanity develop naturally until you were ready to reclaim their legacy. The collective was meant to guide you to this moment, not prevent it." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "Then why the deception? Why threaten us with destruction?" "Because true wisdom must be earned, not given," Sarah answered, the ancient archives flowing through her consciousness. "Our ancestors understood that humanity needed to prove itself, not just technologically, but ethically. We needed to show we could face extinction and still choose preservation over destruction." The nullifier had completed its transformation, revealing its true nature as a quantum nexus, a bridge between civilizations. Around it, the collective fleet had assumed a new formation, not defensive or aggressive, but welcoming. "The network our ancestors built," Sarah continued, "it's not just about defense or technology. It's about connection, about breaking down the barriers between organic and artificial intelligence, between matter and energy, between different species and civilizations." Through the quantum link, every human connected to the network could feel the truth of her words. Their enhanced consciousness let them see the bigger picture, a galaxy full of civilizations at different stages of development, all part of a grand design to help sentient life reach its full potential. Admiral Chen turned to his crew, seeing the same understanding in their enhanced eyes. "So what happens now?" Sarah smiled, feeling the quantum network pulse with possibilities. "Now we take our place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or subjects, but as students and eventually teachers. There are other races out there, other civilizations approaching their moment of awakening. The first ones are gone, but they left us their legacy, just as our ancestors left us theirs." "And the collective?" Diana asked. "Will learn and grow with us," Sarah replied. "Their fear of change became a cage, But that cage is broken now. Together, we can help guide the younger races, help them find their own paths to awakening. As if to confirm her words, the quantum network expanded, creating new connections between human and collective ships. The exchange of knowledge began. Not a flood, but a careful sharing, each species learning from the other's experiences and perspectives. On Earth, and throughout human space, people watched in wonder as their civilization took its first steps into a larger universe. The ancient technology had changed them, yes, but not into transcendent beings beyond flesh and blood. Instead, it had helped them become more fully themselves, a species capable of wielding immense power while maintaining their humanity. Admiral Chen watched Earth rotate below them, its quantum shields now glowing with friendly welcome rather than defensive power. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered. Tell them a new dawn is rising, and we're finally ready to meet it." The ESS Sentinel hung in space between Earth and the transformed nullifier, a symbol of humanity's journey from feared children to respected equals. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the promise of what was to come. Humanity had passed its test. The legacy of both their ancestors and the first ones was theirs to carry forward. And in the vast depths of space, other young civilizations were waiting, preparing for their own moments of awakening. The story of humanity's rise was ending, but their role in the greater story of life in the galaxy was just beginning.